Hello, and welcome back to Luke's Economics. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why I'm optimistic about Canada's economic situation in the long term. Now, today's video is going to be very preemptive and preemptive in terms of my assessment of what this could mean for the future. And when I'm talking about this is when I say this, I'm referring to the 25% tariff or the potential tariff war between the United States and Mexico, but we'll be focusing mainly on Canada. So recently, America has issued a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, which means that when Canadian goods are being imported into America, they're going to be more expensive, with the hope that American consumers and firms will be able to, will purchase domestic or will purchase other alternatives instead of Canadian ones because the Canadian ones are becoming more expensive. So the first thing I'll say about this is that I say I'm optimistic about this in the long term. There are still so many things happening in the short term, and I want to say that I am very fortunate to be alive right now and studying economics, or have studied economics. I believe that a regret of mine is not making these kind of videos during COVID when this was happening, when I could have been doing it. So I have made it a note to myself to do this, so that way I can always have this to look back on and remember the times, appreciate life, and be thankful for this opportunity. So with that out of the way, I will be making many videos as these things unfold. This is just my very brief thoughts on this and kind of a clickbaity type vibe. The first thing I'm going to say is I have heard this from a bunch of people, normal people walking around, that they're afraid of there being a war or something escalating like that between Canada and America and the assassination of Trump. I won't get into Donald Trump being assassinated, but I will talk about there being a potential war between Canada and America. Don't worry about that. If that happens, it's over anyways. It doesn't matter. That's the simplest way I can put it, is that if America decides to try and fight us, no matter how much money we put into the Canadian Army, it is impossible. We can invest all of our GDP, it's impossible. So I would not worry about that happening at all. If that happens, it doesn't matter. They're just going to do what they want with us. So I know that a lot of people have been talking about that in the Canadian economy, and that is a general, in the Canadian just society, I guess, and that is a general concern that people are having. As bad as this sounds, don't worry, because if it happens, it's over anyways. So with that out of the way, why am I optimistic about Canada's future because of the tariffs? The first thing I will say is I think that Canada has a great global image. I think that we don't have any bad relations with any countries. Maybe that's due to my lack of understanding, but I believe that, Europeans like us, Asians like us, African people like us, all those kind of vibes. So I think that we have a great opportunity to become less reliant on the United States, focus more on domestic, and focus more on increasing our relations with other countries. I have a friend of mine who is very interested and was very keen on the idea of Canada forming close ties with Australia and England. While I don't know too much about that, maybe another video will be in store, I do think that I'm very optimistic for Canada to increase their relations with Europe and with Asia, because I believe that we are a great middleman in between those countries, and we could, take advantage of our massive natural resources to export to those countries. And I think that there is many of opportunity for trade. That being said, this is a long-term projection. Who knows what's going to happen? I can't predict the future. You can't predict the future. If we could, well, go to the stock markets and make billions on Donald Trump's insane ideas, and, we'll all look at you and praise you as God. So in the short term, I don't know, but I expect it to be very bad times for Canadians. I think that, especially with these tariffs, if there is a tariff war between Canada and America, there is no doubt that it will harm Canadians. It's inevitable for it to not happen, as most of our trade is with America. I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's like around 80%, maybe upwards of that, I think, of Canada's trade is done with America. And I think that we have been kind of almost whatever America is needed, and if we've been able to supply them with it. And I think that the fact that they're raising tariffs is forcing us to look externally. And even if these tariffs don't end up happening, I think that because this threat has been raised, it will be very hard to revert it in multiple senses. So I think Donald Trump having this tariff war with the world is going to cause the rest of the world to have more of a fear of America doing this kind of thing again in the future. And I think that the same thing goes for Canada, in the sense of, even if Donald Trump threatens the tariff and doesn't go through with it, the fact that he is doing this will cause us to look for alternate opportunities in case if this occurrence were to happen again. And I'm optimistic about this for the Canadian economy because we have so many natural resources, so much oil, so much forests. We are very energy efficient, eco-friendly. A lot of the things we do here are done very well. We're a well-developed country. All of these great kind of things. We have previous ties with Britain. We don't have any massive international enemies. All of these things I think can play into our favor in order for us to, I guess, sell ourselves as a good trade partner to other countries. So kind of what I'm trying to do with this channel from here on is I need to start making videos more seriously. I'm going to try recording multiple videos every day, just like this, like many kind of blurbs of thoughts I'm feeling about the economy. I want to do this on Gary Stevenson videos, on videos in general about the Canadian economy, applying Gary Stevenson's views to the Canadian economy, and all sorts of things like this. I'm going to try my best to make these kind of videos as my application process is starting to wind down. Things are starting to become more settled. I'm going to have more time, which I hope to dedicate to be able to make videos often. I'm going to try to make them as often as I can, as often as there's something that I think that is worth talking about, that I think I can make good analysis on, and hopefully help you guys understand what's going on in the world. So this was a bit of a clickbaity video. I'm going to definitely make more videos on this. I'm going to make more videos going more in depth on this in my interpretation of it. I just wanted to get these videos done because I know that it feels like society is failing and collapsing all around us. And I want, to try and put some positivity, some optimism in here. I know that Gary Stevenson is naturally a realist, and he thinks that the fight will take a long time and it won't be done quickly. I think that's very true, but I think that if there's little things that we can look forward to, it definitely helps the journey. I will talk about trying to tie in Gary Stevenson's thoughts on the ideas on what's currently happening in Canada and America, how I think that inequality economics ties into all of this, and try to hopefully tie some things together and make more educational videos for you guys while I learn more myself. So this video may have been a bit scrambled, but don't fear there being a war between Canada and America. If it does, it is what it is. And I'm optimistic for the Canadian future, but we'll have many a tough years in store of us before that happens. That's all for today's video. Thank you very much. Good luck.